Hello and welcome to Eye on India, special CNBC TV 18 broadcast. I'm Shireen Bhan. The GST Council's meeting on the 5th of August was high on news value and also had a dose of controversy. The Council decided to hike the cap on CESS on cars from 15% to 25%, leading to protests from automakers who called it anti-business and anti-make in India. The other big move was the decision to set up anti-profiteering committees at the central and state levels, and that we understand could happen over the next fortnight or so. But how exactly will these committees work, and how soon can we see actions being taken on complaints? Third, the Council also approved the e-way bill mechanism that promises to smoothen intra- and interstate transportation. It will also mean the end of long lines at border checkposts. While it sounds great on paper, the government is yet to announce a date and the roadmap for its implementation. Well, joining me today to take forward some of those issues is Mahendra Singh, member of the GST for the Central Board of Excise and Customs, or CBEC, Harishankar Subramaniam, partner and national leader, indirect tax at EY. And in a short while from now, we'll also be joined by Naveen Kumar, Chairman of the Goods and Services Tax Network, or the GST. And gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on the show. Mr. Singh, let me start by asking you about the decisions that were taken on the 5th of August. And let me ask you about the most controversial one, and that has to do with hiking the cap on CESS on automobiles from 15% to 25%. Now, what was the rationale behind that? It's barely been a month since the GST rollout has happened. Obviously, you had worked in some calculations, and it seems now to suggest that perhaps it was done in a hurry. So, industry not happy with this decision. What is the rationale behind this?
Actually, it's not like that. Rationalization of rates of the taxes is nothing new. It keeps on happening all the time. And this is actually one of the major part of the annual budget making exercise also. So rates keep on coming up and down. So there is absolutely nothing wrong about it. And government, the main purpose of the government is to see that the rates are actually practical. They are whenever the rates are hiked or they are lowered, the decision is taken by the fitment committee, which comprises of senior officers of the CBEC and the state governments. And the decisions, the recommendations made by the fitment committee are based on empirical data. So on the basis of data and study, they make recommendations, and the decision has been taken by the GST Council. GST Council consists of all the finance ministers of the state and the union finance minister.
So this begs the question, Mr. Singh, that if the Fitment Committee had looked at empirical data and then put forward its recommendations, then why is it that barely in a month's time you feel the need to actually move an amendment to change the CESS? It's not just with automobiles, it happened with cigarettes in the past as well. And hence, I'm asking you the question that this goes against the promise of the government of providing a stable tax environment. What is it, and why is it that the Fitment Committee seems to have gotten its calculations so wrong?
You can't say it is wrong. Actually, the deliberations take place and some of the points get missed also sometimes. So whenever they come to notice, then these corrective measures are taken all the time. This is nothing new about it. And the basic purpose of the government is to see in the new GST regime, the incidence of taxation is kept at the same par which was pre-GST regime. So that is the main concern. And whenever these aberrations are noticed, then corrective measures are taken. This is one of the corrective measures. The earlier,
I understand that the principle of equivalence has been followed by the Fitment Committee and by the GST Council, sir. But, the question now is, when do we see this being operationalized? And also, what is going to be the exact quantum of the hike? Because the decision to, the amendment to move from 15% to 25%, which is an enabling provision at this point in time, the exact quantum has not been decided or discussed, I am given to understand. Give me a sense of what we should expect.
You will appreciate that when the GST was introduced, then states were making complaint that there will be loss of revenue to the states, and for this compensation cess was introduced, and different rates for different commodities were introduced. So under the law, there was a cap of 15% on the luxury cars. So it was felt that this 15% cap is to be enhanced, and the cap has been enhanced to 25%. Now, when the actual levy will come, that nobody can tell today. It will come, and we'll all get to know about it.
Let me bring in Hari. Hari, this has not gone down well as far as industry is concerned. We've promised a predictable, certain tax environment. Barely within a month's time, you're now actually moving an amendment to hike the cap from 15% to 25%. We don't know when it's going to be operationalized. Industry making representations to the government, asking it to reconsider. Do you believe that the only relief likely is that it won't be all the way to 25, perhaps somewhere in the middle?
So before I even come into what they might do, the issue that has happened, whether it was cigarettes or this was, the fundamental equivalence concept was somewhere from a calculation point of view not maintained. That's okay. That might be an argument, which could be an argument from the government side. But the situation is, you come and do those changes in a month and a half, then you're disrupting various business models. You're disrupting various business plans. That is the worry, Now, as regards 25%, you're right. If they put 25%, so if you put that at mid-level cars, then the rate will actually go higher than what the rate is today.
Yeah.
So that's where the conundrum is going to be. It could be true for the larger cars or SUVs, if I say so. So they'll have to come and do something which is in between. My personal belief is it may not be 25.
Okay.
It could be lower than 25. That could be a cap.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether they will wait till 9th of September, because if this has been noticed, they may probably go the ordinance route, is what my sense is, though I don't know what will be the outcome.
Mr. Singh, let me come back to you now, and let's talk about the other decision that was taken by the GST Council. E-way bills will be operationalized. The question is, when will it be operationalized? What is the broad timeline that you are working with? Because what we are getting to hear is that it could be rolled out around the 1st of October.
Once the e-way bill comes into effect, all the documents will actually, they'll be done away with. And the only document will be invoice of the goods and e-way bill. E-way bill, there is a lot of concern about the e-way bill also, but I want to make it clear today that e-way bill actually will help the dealers. Once you have generated your e-way bill at the time of dispatch of the goods, and it is carried with the vehicle, whenever the checking takes place, the e-way bill can be just flashed, and you will have a smooth crossover from state to state and from place to place. So it will actually help the dealers. It will be smooth transportation of goods throughout the country, and it will be a borderless transportation.
Yes, you're saying that invoices, etc., will be done away with. But again, sir, broad timeline that you're working with, and the other comment the GST Council, the decision that the GST Council did take was that there will be no check posts nationwide. But the Finance Minister did allude to the fact that states will be free to conduct randomized checks. Now, we've seen what's already happened with these mobile squads, leading to the concern that there will be confusion and harassment.
These checks are part of the effort by the state government and the central government to detect evasion. You will appreciate and you will agree with me, there are unscrupulous elements also. So these checks are necessary. But when the e-way bill comes into effect, and when a carrier, a vehicle is carrying the e-way bill, whenever there is a mobile check, they can just flash the e-way bill and they can have a smooth transportation. So e-way bill, in a way, will help the dealers, and these random checks will not be a means of harassment. Actually, they are basically to detect the evasion. So if someone is not carrying the e-way bill, not carrying the proper invoices, of course they'll be detected and action will be taken against them. But basically, this is for the smooth flow of goods from one place to another throughout the country without any checkposts. Yeah.
Okay, so that's as far as the e-way bill mechanism is concerned. Hari, a quick word from you. Perhaps around the 1st of October is what we're given to understand the rollout timeline could be. What would your key concerns be here?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure the jury is out on e-way bill. So, I mean, it might be smooth. I'm still worried about the 50,000 threshold value they have spoken about. Yes, there is checks that are required, but will the squads now start becoming overactive is a question they'll have to wait and watch. And at least if they do it consistently across states in a similar manner, it'll still be better than what is happening today. Because each state is trying to do
its own thing.
Exactly what they want to do. I just came from a meeting, and that's exactly what they're saying, is that you might as well have some consistency. But how smooth the e-way will be, yes, there will be no check posts, but will the squads get overactive or not is the question that we'll have to wait and watch. So that jury is still not out. But I would still like a consistent process with a higher threshold across all states.
Fair point that you make, Hari, and I think that's a concern that a lot of people have raised, that there should be consistency, and these state-led mobile squads should not actually lead to discretion and harassment at the end of the consumer. But let me talk to you now, Mr. Singh, about the anti-profiteering clause in specific and the decisions that were taken by the GST Council. The Council has decided to set up anti-profiteering committees. Now, we already have a mechanism and a structure in place on dealing with anti-profiteering as part of the GST law. So what is the need for these steering committees? What will be the composition of these steering committees? What role will they play? Explain this to us, sir.
With the implementation of the GST, the main concern was if the rates, of course, rates of taxes are coming down, the benefit should be passed to the consumers. So anti-profiteering measure is an effort to see that wherever there is reduction in rate of taxes or there is benefit from input tax credit, it should be passed on to the consumers. So if it is not done, then the anti-profiteering authority will come into action, and government has issued rules to set up a anti-profiteering authority. There will be 4 members in the authority, 1 chairman and 4 members.
But that's my question, sir. You already have in the law provisions for a pricing authority. So what is this steering committee supposed to be doing exactly? What will be the exact role of these steering committees? What is the mechanism now going to be?
I'll explain. At the top level will be the anti-profiteering authority, consisting of 1 chairman and 4 members. There will be a standing committee. There will be a standing committee consisting of 4 members. 2 members will be from the central government CEBC officers, and 2 members will be from the states. There will be screening committee in each and every state. Now, the main work of the standing committee is to scrutinize the applications and the complaints which are received from all over the country. Likewise, screening committee which are operational in the state, which will be operational actually in the states, will be receiving complaints and applications in the state level also. So there is a two-way system. If the complaints are received by the standing committee, they can take decision on their own, or they can refer the complaints and applications to the state screening committees. On the other hand, if the applications and complaints are issued by the state screening committee, they will analyze, they will scrutinize those applications and complaints on the basis of records available with them. They will make recommendation to the standing committee. Ultimately, it is the standing committee which will decide which application or complaint is worth pursuing and whether it is fit for referring it for a detailed investigation. Now, once a decision has been taken by the standing committee to refer an application or a complaint for detailed investigation, it will make a reference to the Directorate General of Safeguards. Now, DG Safeguards, which is under the CBEC, has been entrusted with the task of completing detailed investigation. They have been given all these, timelines have been prescribed. Standing committee has a timeline of 2 months. Within 2 months, they have to take a decision whether an application or a complaint is fit to be referred for detailed investigation. So within 2 months, they have to take a decision. Once a decision has been taken to refer it to the DG Safeguard, they will make detailed investigations about the complaint. They will take into consideration all the records available with the complainant. A chance will also be given to the person against whom the complaint has been made. And after a detailed investigation, 3 months period has been given to them. They will make a recommendation to the authority who will pass appropriate order on the basis of the detailed investigation conducted by the DG Safeguards.
Well, on that note, we are going to take a break. Mr. Mahinder Singh, many thanks for joining us here on CNBC TV 18 special broadcast. When we return from this break, Naveen Kumar, Chairman of the GSTN, joins us for a status check. That and more when we return.